standing up for Liberty State Park. This is a message. We're sending a message to Trenton today. We're representing all the people who have ever fought for Liberty State Park since the park opened on Flag Day 1976 as our bicentennial gift to our country. This is certainly sacred land. So the Protection Act and Caven Point Natural Area are both threatened by the billionaire Paul Fireman's Liberty National Golf Course. The billionaire again wants to privatize and destroy Caven Point to relocate multi-millionaires' golf holes closer to the bay. The essence of park history is that people put democracy into action, as you are doing today, and have fought for this People's Park behind Lady Liberty. We have the same message today from 43 years of battles, that the people own this land. And we want this park to be free and green forever without privatization, no matter what revenue is promised. And here's a classic chant from the Governor Christie era. What do we mean, free and green? 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 We fight today for social justice. We fight for our quality of life, for open space, and for nature, and on behalf of future generations to enjoy this priceless park. This waterfront was transformed from an abandoned, desolate area into a beautiful park, and then protected by people's vision and activism. And today we're again showing people power and our strength and solidarity. Whose park? The people park. Whose park? Whose park? Monday is the legislative session's last voting day. Because of the billionaires' money power, the Senate may pass a Protection Act with an amendment to privatize Caven Point. And as of now, the Assembly Speaker, Craig Coughlin, has not even posted the Protection Act for a vote. So we today urge Speaker Craig Coughlin to do the right thing, to let the Assembly vote. It would be unconscionable and unjustifiable for him to prevent a vote in the Assembly on Monday. We need both chambers to pass this overdue, necessary landmark law. And Caven Point is an irreplaceable migratory bird habitat and nesting area. It's an urban environmental education resource and a peaceful sanctuary. The billionaire has alternatives for the golf academy he wants, which he says will serve thousands of inner city youth every year. Which is dubious. But Fireman owns vacant land right next to his fancy clubhouse where he wanted a casino resort hotel. That's 11 acres where he can build right now, and he can put 90 stories on top of that academy if he wants. And he also can buy the adjacent 27-acre Army Reserve land for his needs. So he doesn't need, but he as selfishly wants to wipe out this urban habitat for eye candy for the one percenters. The billionaire's lobbyist, Eric Shuffler, who used to be an environmentalist, said that getting Caven Point would make their golf course a bigger economic engine. They arrogantly cast aside the true public good purpose of this local, state, and national treasure park, which is not, the purpose of the park is not to raise revenue or be an economic engine. In December, the Star-Ledger editorial headline was, "Liberty Park is not for sale at any price." The Jersey Journal editorial headline was, "Protect Liberty Park from developers. So I thank those two newspapers, the Ledger and the Jersey Journal and the Bergen Record, for their editorials and stories. So thank goodness for the free press. Thank you for fighting for Liberty Park. If the existing Protection Act does not pass on Monday, it will be shameful, but we are not going away. Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee will reintroduce the act in the new session, and we will win round 2 with a vote probably in May. So your continuing activism is essential to protect this park. Introduce a representative for Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee, who has been the first prime sponsor of the legislation in the Assembly and who is a great champion of the park. And I want to just briefly read Raj's statement in the press release when they introduced the act. Raj said that it's time we enshrined into law the protection of the park as a free, open, and urban green oasis. The park is a national treasure and a keeper of this country's diverse, rich history, with markers that have guided generations of citizens and attracted people from all over the world. So Raj is in San Francisco today, and I'm very glad that Jay Geldzeiler, the Director of Constituent Affairs for Raj, has brought a message from Assemblyman Raj Mukherjee. So Jay?
As Sam said, I'm Jay Geldzeiler. I'm Director of Constituent Affairs for Assemblyman Mukherjee, who is out of the state today with his wife and he regrets he's not able to be here. But the Assemblyman is the author of the Liberty State Park Protection Act in the People's House and worked with friends and the Baykeeper on this historic legislation because for repeated inappropriate proposals to privatize or commercialize this national treasure. Liberty State Park is free, open, urban green oasis, and it's time we guarantee in the law that she stay that way. Enough is enough. The park is a keeper of this country's diverse, rich history with markers that have guided generations of citizens and attracted people from all over the world to Jersey City. Urban families don't have a lot of open space to enjoy. Whether this week or within a couple of months, we will not stop fighting until this bill becomes law. The Assemblyman can't get this done on his own. So thank you to all the advocates for your dedication and advocacy. Thank you, everybody.
I also want to send regards from Assemblywoman Angela McKnight, who's the second prime sponsor, who's been doing all she can to push the law forward to its passage. And Assemblyman Nick Chevrolet from Bayonne is the third prime sponsor, and he's been very supportive. And I just see our longest-term elected official, champion of Liberty Park, freeholder Bill O'Day. Bill, thank you very much for coming today. Bill has facilitated the County Board of Freeholders to pass a couple of resolutions in support of the act. And I just saw Councilman Rolando Navarro, who's been very supportive. Rolando, thank you. Mayor Phillips said he might be able to come today. If not, I can read one of his tweets, because the mayor has been strongly in favor of protecting Caven Point and passing the law as it is. So I do have the honor of introducing the 25-year equal partner in fighting for Liberty Park, the great champion of urban open space and urban nature, the Baykeeper, the New York, New Jersey Baykeeper CEO, Greg Rameau.
And it's always an honor to be here with Sam and everybody here. And I'll just start out. You know, we all get the same question, right? How do you guys keep doing this? How do you come out time and time again fighting the same things, protecting nature and the commons and the public trust resources that should already be protected? And every time you get tired, you come out and you see, look how many great people are out here, not just today, but every day, supporting their community, their neighbors, not worrying about personal enrichment, but true values about our communities and our public spaces. And that's as energizing as anything can be, and it powers the fight. So thank you all, and congratulations for everything you've done. And despite the fact that it's a polarized nation, things like rallies like this and causes like this are what will bring us together. We're fortunate, we have a coalition letter signed on by dozens of community groups and conservation groups from around the state and around the region, and that's growing. And what the letter says is simply, pass the Liberty State Park Protection Act. You know what the Liberty State Park Protection Act says? Treat Liberty Park like every other park. Yeah. Don't commercialize it. Bring in amenities for the people, for the visitors, for guests, playgrounds, bike rentals, lemonade stands. Let us enjoy the park like a central park that it should be. That's all that law says. Caven Point explains and it shows and I'll be polite, the misrepresentations being posed by the hired guns of Paul Fireman and Liberty National Golf Course. They're saying things like, oh, we're going to save millions of dollars on a remediation. Well, you know what that remediation is? That means they're going to dump soil and build golf holes. There's no need. DEP is on record. There is no need for remediation. Right. But they say these kind of things, and that's the kind of world we're living in, where facts don't matter and truth doesn't matter, and the commons to some people. Luckily, that's the minority, and we're the majority. So that letter is going out to Senate Leader Sweeney and Assemblyman Coughlin, and to the governor saying, post the bill, pass the bill, and let's move on to enjoying and continually improving Liberty State Park. The letter also says what's at stake. And this is really critical, and this is going to be our safeguard, because we're going to win one way or another. We always do, and we're going to. But this Caven Point was purchased with Green Acres money, state conservation open space funds, and federal land and water conservation funds. They have regulations and protections against diverting property that was purchased for the public for nature and wildlife and environmental education and for public access, and diverting it to a private use. Could there be anything more private than an exclusive Liberty National Golf Club, ultra exclusive, than for the 0.1%. There's 250 members. Do you know what they pay? If we want to get onto our own property and they get this, and we want to go out to Caven Point, we'll have to pay a $500,000 membership to get onto our own property. They'll let us go to the beach, they say. So we call on Paul Fireman. When they came in there and they built Liberty National, we said, welcome, neighbors. Some people didn't like the golf course. We said, it's on private property. You're cleaning it. Good for you. Let's be good neighbors. Well, Mr. Fireman, what we're asking you to do is stop coveting your neighbor's property. Public trust resources, they'll never get it. They might be able to stop this legislation this session, but with Raj Mukherjee's leadership and other leaders, we're going to try again next time, and if they don't, we'll take it to the courts. We've already been talking to lawyers, land and water conservation fund. If that gets breached, we're talking about almost every national park and thousands, hundreds of thousands of acres across our country in every state. Now, somebody who has $1 billion and some hired guns, like Eric Shuffler, can go down to and screw up the legislative process, kill good legislation, and put in ridiculous things. I mean, could there be any greater diversion than an exclusive golf course? I said it, it's just hard to imagine that this has even gotten this far. That said, thank you all again for everybody being together in this. It's just a great pleasure being on this fight.
great championship of Liberty Park over the years. And this today is democracy in action, and we are glad that Mayor Fulop is here with his son Jackson. The mayor has been a great hero of Liberty Park in the last few years. He knows that quality of life is more important than whatever revenue is promised. So we have a great champion in our mayor, Stephen Fulop. So Mayor, if you would please come up. And with $300 a day. Thank you.
Thank you, Sam. I'm going to turn it over to Bill O'Day here, who's been champion of the park for 25 years and wants to say something.
So, Sam, I want to thank you and all the members of Friends of Liberty State Park. Without your efforts, we wouldn't keep this park the way it is. We've got to continue to fight. We've got to get this bill passed. But as long as you stay strong, and as long as the Friends of Liberty State Park stay strong, we'll be able to fight off any billionaire developer or anyone else who tries to encroach on this park. So, thank you for your efforts.
I just want to echo those sentiments and say thank you to Sam Pessin and all of you, Friends of Liberty State Park, for fighting this fight for decades. You know, it seems every 4 years or so, we find ourselves here again, whether it's a racetrack or a golf course or a water park, and we're going to keep fighting until we don't have to fight anymore and we get the respect for this park that we deserve, and it's fully... I just want to say that for those of you that aren't from Jersey City and question about, you know, why is this so important to you specifically or your neighbors when you go back home and you tell them, it's because if this park is not protected and this is the jewel of New Jersey, what does that say about your parks in your neighborhood? Are they ever protected? And the answer is no. So we need to make a statement here and say this is for the people, this is for the public, it was meant that way, it will always be that way, and as long as we're here, we're going to continue to fight to make sure it stays that way. So thank you, Friends of Liberty State Park. Liberty State Park just the way it is. Perfect. Thank you.
All right, the next speaker is familiar with these kind of battles because the tactics being used here to defame this incredible natural urban oasis is what they did when they were trying to put the mall in the middle of the Meadowlands. They said, oh, that's not habitat, oh, that's no good, that area, you got to put the mall there and that'll make it actually better. And the leader of that fight was Captain Bill Sheen, the Hackensack Riverkeeper, and he's here now.
Thanks, Greg. Sam, I'm here today to support the Friends of Liberty State Park, period. The Friends have been doing a fabulous job for the past, as long as I can remember, trying to keep this park in your hands rather than in the hands of the millionaires and the billionaires. Sammy over here has been putting his heart and soul into keeping this park green. Every day in every way in order to keep this park clean and green. We do not want to see that beautiful spit of land over there called they call it Caven Point. We don't want to see that turned into a golf course. We want to see the seals resting on there in the wintertime. We want to see the birds using it during the summertime. We want to be able to take young children out. They talk about teaching kids to play golf. How about teaching kids to like nature? The biggest problem that we have in these urban areas today is the disconnect from nature that has occurred because everybody's in these concrete boxes. Some of them reach up into the sky. You can look up the road here and see them. And they don't go out and they don't experience nature. And now the little bit of nature that Jersey City has left is at risk again. I can't believe this. You know, I've been here for the first golf course fight. I've been here for the water park fight. I've been here for all the other fights along the way. And, you know, I thought we were finally at a good place. And then along comes Mr. Fireman and his billions of dollars. Well, too bad. He can take his billions of dollars and go back where he came from. We need this park to be for the people, for the people. What do we want? Open space. What do we want? Open space.
And next speaker has been a leader in New Jersey environment for decades. Has been supporting, and he and the Hudson County members of the Sierra Club and the New Jersey chapter of the Sierra Club have fought every battle alongside the Friends and all of us. And it's a pleasure to have Jeff Tittle, the head of New Jersey Sierra Club now.
I just want to start out and say that the Sierra Club, being the nation's oldest and largest environmental group, which was founded by John Muir 127 years ago, understood the concept that land is entrusted for the people, that it belongs to us, that no king, no president, no governor, no legislator owns the land that belongs to us. The concept of natural areas, the concept of wilderness, the concept of having national parks, that was what Sierra Club has stood for all these years, and that's why we're here today, because we're at ground zero in the fight to preserve and protect those sacred lands that belong to all of us. And when you take a natural area, and when you take a wilderness area like Caven Point, and you try to destroy it with a golf course, you're desecrating that cathedral of nature, and that's why we're here. We're here today because this is the park that is the gateway to this country. This is the park that stands for the Statue of Liberty and all she represents, and we're here today to tell that statue, we got your back. We're never going to let this park be developed. We're here today in the state park that is in the most densely populated area in the country, that we're going to protect and preserve that open space for future generations so kids can learn and to see nature and people can understand the environment. This is the most densely populated area in the country, and the only thing denser are the politicians in Trenton that don't get it.
Thank you, Jeff Tittle of the Sierra Club, for speaking for all of us in your powerful speech. I think I see Laura Scolar of the Jersey Parks Coalition, one of the big supporters of dozens of groups in Jersey City who've joined the coalition letter. As Greg said, with now it's over 55 groups statewide. So I want to introduce now, we have just a couple more speakers. Allison Kuko, who is the chairperson of the Jersey City Environmental Commission, and she's a new invaluable board member of the Friends of Liberty State Park. So thank you, Allison.
Thank you. So for years, the Jersey City Environmental Commission has been a strong advocate of Liberty State Park. As a group of scientists and environmental professionals, we recognize the importance that this park plays in the lives of our residents and of the wildlife. So when a few years ago there was a plan that became public for Caven Point to actually be turned from a natural area into a golf course, we obviously opposed it. And it's upsetting that here we are 2 years later still opposing that same plan, and that it is holding up the Liberty State Park Protection Act. Currently, Caven Point serves as an important environmental resource for Jersey City students and for residents who want to explore this urban estuary, and it's the longest stretch of natural beach that is still here in the New York Bay. And also importantly, this area serves a great purpose for migratory and nesting birds. I just want to touch on this point because there was a study that came out last year that stated today we have 3 billion less birds on the planet than we did in 1970. That is a 29% reduction. And the primary reason is habitat degradation. And so when Liberty National says that this small bit of land is really it's small, it's not important to protect, we must remember that all over the world there are these small, very ecologically important bits of land that are being destroyed, and together the consequences are staggering. But right now, we still have Caven Point, and it's still protected, and we have a plan to continue to protect Caven Point and all of Liberty State Park, thanks to Sam and thanks to Greg. And right now, we have the opportunity to let our state legislators know that they are there in Trenton to act on behalf of us and on behalf of the organisms that rely on Caven Point, not on behalf of the 1%.
Thank you so much, Allison. I'm going to introduce our last speaker is Ken McNamara of the local Union Communication Workers of America, 1037. That local represents most of the people who've worked at the park from the beginning, and we have been fortunate to have their union support. The New Jersey director is Hetty Rosenstein, and she and Ken have been steadfast in their very powerful support against privatization of this treasured, invaluable, priceless land that belongs to us. So, Ken, thank you so much for coming today to represent your union.
Thank you, Sam. So yes, good morning. I bring you greetings from CWA Local 1037 and a pledge of solidarity in this struggle from the 10,000 members of our local, many of and all the workers who work right here in this park, along with the many volunteers and the members of the Friends group. It's them who keep this space clean and green and safe so all of us can use it because it's our park, the people's park. Whose park? Whose park? Whose park? So it's been far too many times that I can't imagine over the last 25 years how many times we've had to, all of us have had to answer the call from Sam or from Greg or from John, who we lost John Tischer, who we lost this year, or the many other dedicated activists who constantly fought for this park. But thank you, Sam, and everyone for reminding us that we have to get directly involved and make sure that our voices are heard if we're going to maintain this space as a green, non-commercial urban oasis. We stand with you once again. So our union has let it be known to the legislators and to the governor that we are watching them. We told them that we expect him to support the Liberty State Park Protection Act as is, with no further amendments and no privatization of Caven Point. Whose park? Whose park? Whose park? So, I don't know if the mayor is still here. I'm not a resident of Jersey City. I'm a resident of Newark, but I frequent this park often just to breathe in the fresh air or to get some exercise, sometimes to take in the history or the nature of the park. And I think about the fights while I'm here. I think about the fights that our members are engaged in today. I think about some of our daily struggles as working people and how we need a free and open space like Liberty State Park now more than ever. I think about the immigrant workers who came through Ellis Island behind us, or perhaps those who passed through the Central Jersey Railroad Terminal at the north end of the park. And I think that maybe these are some of the same workers who went on strike 100 years ago in the famous Bread and Roses strike. So I'm not sure if folks are familiar with that, but they went on strike because they were fighting for just not economic survival, but the things we all need to nurture us as human beings. The bread represented the need for home and shelter and security, but the roses represented nature, the need for books, the need for music, and yes, nature and open space. As workers today, we fight for those same things as those workers. We fight for bread, yes, but we fight for roses too. We fight for the things that sustain us, things like this park.